Joining us for a weekly press conference with head coach Lance Taylor. The Broncos are coming off a victory over Ohio and head to Northern Illinois next Tuesday for a 7 p.m. Eastern kickoff on ESPN2. We'll start with an opening statement from Coach and we'll take questions.
Really good quality team win versus a really good football team in Ohio. It was a gritty performance by our players, and I'm extremely proud of the focus and belief from our coaches to our staff all the way down to our players. We had a great week of preparation that showed up, especially in the second half. I thought our execution, belief in what we were doing, and refuse to lose mentality helped us win that game versus Ohio. We are now bowl eligible for the second year in a row. But as I stated to our team yesterday and after the game, we have bigger goals and dreams that we're still pursuing with laser focus. The mentality and mindset is 0-0 and to attack each day to go 1-0. It's time to reset and refocus for a great challenge at Northern Illinois. They're coming off of a big win in dominating fashion. As a team, we will have to focus on chasing greatness and elevating our standard this week, just like we have been prepared to do every single week.
NIU's season didn't start off the way they would like it, but they've won 2 of their last 3, and in those 2 wins have given up a combined 10 points. What have you seen out of the Huskies lately that has led to their success?
Northern Illinois is a really good football team. They played really good defense. They're just coming off of a dominating win, 45-3. They put up 45 points. I thought quarterback Jalen Macon played really well. The most action that he's seen in his first start. They had 45 points, 318 rushing yards on 4 touchdowns. Their defense held UMass to 3 points. They held them to 65 rushing yards. I think 262 total yards. Special teams had a blocked punt. So in all 3 phases, they played really well. That was on the road again, in a really tough Wednesday night environment there at UMass. So they're always tough to play at home. I think the biggest thing for us is, just like we've talked about every single week, is focus on ourselves. The discipline to one, have a great week of preparation, and then the discipline to show up and just do our job and execute. When I was in the NFL, we always talked about it's a week-to-week league. Any given Sunday you can get beat, and I think that's one of the beautiful things and great things about MACtion and MAC football is there's really good players, there's really good coaches. Every single week, the parity and the closeness between teams, they're such close games and they're so fun to play in. But that's what makes this league fun. Is every single week you show up, you have to bring your best in order to be able to win. But if you don't, those games, your team has a chance to lose every single week, and I think that's what makes MAC and MACtion games really special. I think that's what makes it tough in November on Tuesday and Wednesday nights, is to continue to bring your best in tough environments, and that's what we're going to have to do this week, is really be focused on us and the things that it takes to win, and this team has really had that type of focus, but as you continue to go through the season stretch, you really have to continue to narrow your focus each and every week.
Telly Johnson Jr. having a very successful season, had a little bit of a breakout game last year here in Kalamazoo. Had 140 yards, 2 touchdowns last year. What are some of the problems he creates, and kind of how you want to combat that from a defensive perspective?
Telly Johnson is a really good football player. I love the way that he plays the game, the way that he runs. He's a physical runner. He runs behind his pads. He creates those yards after contact. Really they're running back by committee. Telly and then also Shavon Wright. They split carries. I think between the both of them they have almost 1,300 yards and 6 touchdowns. And really in this past game specifically, you really saw Northern's mindset, mentality, the identity that they want to play with show up. And I think when the quarterback, he came in and gave them a spark. He played really well for them, and I think they were able to get back to their identity, which is playing physical, being able to run the football, and play really good defense and special teams. So this is going to, we're going to have our work cut out for us. Telly Johnson is one of those pieces that we're going to make sure that we have to have a plan for, and we have to do a better job tackling. I don't think that we've done a great job tackling on defense, especially tackling the quarterback and critical critical situations on fourth down. We've got to do a better job in situational football on the defensive side of the ball. And for us personally, that's where I'm excited because, I'm proud of our team that they found a way to win, but there's still things that we can clean up to get even better. When you look at offense, we've got things that we can continue to improve on. I just mentioned a couple of things defensively. Special teams, when we have opportunities to score points, we've got to score points. And I mentioned after the game, coaching, I've got to be better in situational football. So those things are exciting if you look at them from a positive. If we continue to grow and have the mindset, that growth mindset mentality, and focus on us, we're still chasing our best every single day.
Yeah, with that win on Tuesday over Ohio, a little bit of extra, kind of help from the other results around the conference. You now find yourself in the driver's seat for the conference playoff, but really can't clinch until the last week. How do you kind of balance the confidence of being on top with, kind of staying hungry and not letting one of the teams in the lower end of the standings get you here down the stretch?
The biggest thing that we have to do is have laser focus, because the moment that we start worrying about where we are in the standings, where everybody else is in the standings, worrying about, what people were, outside noise and the rat poison is the moment that you get distracted and you get beat and you lose focus on what really is important. I told our team this. I think the thing that has been really impressive with this team, the maturity of this team, is whether we've won or lost, they've had the focus and been hungry to show up and just work and get better. That's what we're going to have to do. Being where we are right now, November 13th with 2 games left to play. I mean, that's like preseason rankings. It doesn't, you can wipe your nose with that. It doesn't matter. And so we have to finish strong. I think our players understand that. I really like the mindset that they came in with yesterday after the game. They wanted to, look at the things that we could improve in the Ohio game, and they were excited to really go play a Northern Illinois team who has had our number the last several years, and we know that we're going to have to play our best there on a Tuesday night.
The offense has shown signs of improvement, but still has 5 games this year that they haven't reached 20 points. What are you guys looking to do on that end to try and really find your stride in these final weeks?
Well, it's a team game, and you can take stats and you can wipe your nose with that too, because to me, the biggest stat is whether you win or lose. And we said early on that we were going to be able to run the football. Our identity was to run the football, play physical, and play great defense. And that was going to be our formula to win. And we haven't changed that from day one of this season to the last. We haven't won every game. We've got plenty of areas to improve on, offensively, defensively, and special teams. But that's what the beautiful thing about football is it's a team game. I think our offense has improved. I mean, when you rush for over 200 yards, you allow 0 sacks against one of the best defenses and one of the best defensive fronts in our conference. I'll take that any day of the week, and I'll go to war with the guys that we have on offense. I love their mentality because of the grit and their ability to want to show up every single week to get better. Yeah, there's things that we've got to improve on, absolutely. But I think the way that we're built is some of those runs and some of those, body blows in the first half start to create some of the explosive plays that we've had in the second half. And I think you saw that again in the Ohio game. I think we've been extremely efficient. I think we've used our personnel really well, putting our players in the best, position to succeed. And ultimately, the goal is to score one more point than the opponent does, and that's really our mentality. I appreciate the way that Walt and our offensive staff have attacked that. I think sometimes you see so many coordinators. It's not only it's not just players who chase stats. I mean, coaches chase stats as well, and the only stat that really matters is winning. And there's really been no ego on the offensive side of the ball. Hey, what do we need to do to win games? And when you look at the first drive of the second half offensively, to come out and go right down the field and score a touchdown, and then the drive in the fourth quarter where you take 7 minutes off and you go down the length of the field and you're able to ice a game against the defending MAC champions, I'll take that.
And speaking of MAC champions, 2 more wins, and you guys sewn it up, and you'll be in the MAC championship game. How difficult is it to keep the guys focused on that 1-0 mentality, looking at just this next game, not looking at that championship?
Not difficult. They practice that every single week. We've talked about that since training camp, and our mentality has been go 1-0. We don't have 2 games left. We got 1 game.
Coach, your offensive line play, how do you assess that right now? Is it where you want it to be at this point in the season?
Well, Robin, I think that's a great question. I've really bragged on the offensive line in terms of their development, growth and development through the season. We've played multiple guys there. To answer your question, I don't think we're happy or satisfied with any part of our team, whether it's O-line, whether it's offense production, whether it's my in-game management, or even as play callers, we're trying to continue to elevate our standard. I will tell you this, our offensive, we voted our offensive line as players of the game, not just one player, but the whole offensive line. When you rush for over 200 yards and you allow 0 sacks, that really has been our formula to help win games on the offensive side of the ball. And so we've played multiple guys. In this game, we played 6 guys. I thought all 6 guys played winning football, which is important. Gavin Dabo played probably his best game as a Bronco. He was the highest graded player on that offensive line. And I think for a young player, to continue to elevate here in November against your better competition, I think shows the growth in that room.
Jalen Buckley had one of his better games against Ohio. Is he back to where he wants to be going into these final 2 games?
Well, I think, again, if you ask Jalen Buckley, he's never satisfied with his performance. He would tell you he's still got more that he wants to do and can be better at. But I think we're all seeing a healthy Jalen Buckley who's running really hard. I mean, we went into halftime, in the Ohio game, and said from an offensive standpoint, we needed to execute at a higher level. We needed to just settle down and do our job. I thought we, missed some cuts, missed some reads, missed some opportunities to make some bigger plays in the first half. But I wasn't frustrated. I mean, it was still a 4-point game there at halftime, so we were right where we wanted to be. But we also said, hey, listen, we're gonna put it on your back, Buckley. I mean, we told him that at halftime. We're gonna give you some carries coming out of the halftime. We get the ball. Let's go down and start fast by going down and putting points on the board. I thought he ran, possessed in the second half in a great way, just running through contact and really willing his way. I think you saw a team that, one, believes that we can win any game, believes that we can play with anybody, but also just the mentality, that refuse to lose mentality, whether we're up or we're down. They've had that belief and confidence in each other, and I think that's as important as anything that we've built here, is a mentality and mindset and a belief in what we're doing, and I think that's showing up. And listen, these games, they're never perfect. There are plenty of things that we can clean up, that we have to clean up. And I think if we want to continue to play winning football and reach our goals and dreams that we've had since the beginning of the season, we have to continue to elevate the standard.
And Palmer Domsky missed a couple of kicks. How's he been this week in practice? Because going to need him down the stretch here.
We are. We talked about special teams. We've got to make the plays when they're there, and that's really as a team. Palmer, I saw Palmer this morning. He and I had a good conversation yesterday and this morning. He was just voted a captain for our football team because of who he is, his work ethic, his leadership. He's a selfless teammate. He's been MAC, special teams player of the week 3 times, which is pretty impressive. Listen, there's nobody more upset about missing those kicks than Palmer. I can promise you that. I think, I have complete confidence in Palmer. He's made really big kicks. I mean, the hardest kick in the game was the first kick. I mean, we had a low snap. It was an elite hold by Ryan Milmore to get the snap down, and then he makes a 46-yard kick, and he, right down the pipe. And so it really is just, having that next play mentality to be able to reset and refocus, not allowing one play, one make, one miss, the winds, any conditions to affect your process. I think that's what's really hard. That's why I'm not very good at golf, because I can't reset and refocus. If I shank one, I'm going to shank 15. And so, Palmer has the ability to be able to reset and refocus, and that's why we trust him. He's made some big kicks for us. He's going to continue to make some big kicks. He had a great mentality and mindset as he came back in the building after that game.
And then their quarterback, who started this past game, Jalen Macon, is 6'5". What problems does a big quarterback like that present to your defense when you've talked about working on tackling here going in these final two games?
Jalen Macon played a really great game last night against UMass. I mean, he's tall, he's 6'5", he's mobile, he's athletic. He really made really good decisions. In the past game, he was really efficient. I think he was almost 70% in completion percentage there. He is a kid that was, from Nashville, Tennessee. I think he started out at Arkansas Pine Bluff, and he got an opportunity. He created a spark for him. What I saw is a guy who came in, made those around him better. He created a spark for their offense, and a guy that, we're going to have a great plan for. I think, we have struggled defensively. We have struggled with mobile, athletic quarterbacks. When you look at DeQuan Finn, when you look at, Parker Navarro, those are ways that we can be better, and ways that, as we've played the mobile quarterbacks, we continue to, have to elevate our standard, especially tackling and getting guys down on the ground. He's going to be an even, different challenge than the guys that we've faced because of his size and length and athleticism. And so I think he did a great job, excellent job in that game, and, really helped them get back to their identity and mentality, which is, running the football, being physical. That's where they have out-physicaled us in the last two seasons that we've played them. And, I think that's going to be the challenge for our defense. All that being said, again, it really comes down to us being disciplined to do our job, having a great plan for him, for their offense. I know, Coach O'Leary, our coaches will put together a great plan this week, but having a great plan, sticking to that plan, trusting it, and then executing it.
Coach, can you talk to the success of the secondary despite kind of what seems like a lack of experience? I mean, you have Tate Halleck, obviously, who's been around for a while. Javarius Sims saw a lot of action at CMU, not so much at UConn. Aaron Wofford changes positions from safety to corner, and then you have Josh Franklin, who's really only in his second year playing cornerback. Micah Davis didn't see much time in Michigan, and then Joey Pope, who was a special teams guy pretty much before this season.
I'm so proud of our really secondary. And when you say secondary, I mean, that's corners, that's safeties, that's our nickel position. I think that they played an excellent game. One, to limit one of the best quarterbacks in our conference, to what he had throwing the football production wise, and then also one of the best receivers in our league and in the country. And Chase Hendricks held him two catches to 13 yards. That's a product of everybody doing their job, but especially in the secondary. One, I thought they had a great week of preparation. I thought Coach O'Leary, Coach Coleman, our secondary, our players really had an elite week of preparation. I was really confident going into the game that they were going to play well because of how they had prepared. And I think that that's our formula, Bonner, is how we prepare shows up on game day. That's why I was really confident as we went into that game that we were prepared because of the week of preparation. But you mentioned Tate Halleck. He played probably his best game of the season. He had the pick on the first drive. That allows you to start fast defensively and settle into the game. It allowed him to settle in the game and really, have confidence as we move forward. I thought Josh Franklin at our nickel position played extremely well. He was very disciplined. He had probably one of his best games of the season. And then Aaron Wofford. You mentioned him. I'm extremely proud of Wofford. He was a safety for us and move position to it's not easy going from safety to corner. Corner is one of those positions that, one, you have to have an elite skill set, but then mentality, you have to be able to have a short memory. You've got to have a competitive mindset, but a short memory. And I think Aaron Wofford played his best game as a corner, as a Bronco, in that game, and it was because of how he prepared during the week. And so we see what the formula is there in the secondary, and as a team, can we continue to stay disciplined to do that? But I thought all those guys played really well. Jay Sims into the boundary played well. Micah Davis played really good at safety for us, as well as Joey Pope. So I thought that unit really played really well and gave us a chance to win that football game.
Last year down the stretch, you guys struggled to close out games and kind of lost a few games down the stretch. The opposite has been true this year. You guys have found kind of a way to win almost every close game you've been in. Can you speak a little bit to the mindset of this team? How resilient they've been even in these close games. Found themselves down at halftime against Ohio and managed to kind of come back, exert their will, and win.
I think our mindset and mentality has really been the difference in this year's team. There is a belief, and I told our coaching staff, I told our players this yesterday. I mean, it really starts with us as coaches, but then the players have to believe. They're ultimately the ones that have to play between the white lines and make the plays when the game is on the line. But it is, from a program and culture standpoint, there is a belief and buy-in in what we're doing and each other, trusting each other that, the man next to you is going to do his job, whether it's coach, staff, or player. And I think there's a great belief in what we're doing. But also just, there's also just, because of that belief, there's a refuse to lose mentality. And whether we've been down or we've been up, we've found ways to win games where in the past, we found ways to lose games, especially those close games, those, critical games down the stretch against really quality opponents in the month of November. And so, winning, learning how to win is a process. It's one that we've had to learn how to win, and I think you're starting to see this team, and you have to have a couple of those wins, doing the right thing, and those gritty performances, whether it's the Toledo win or Central Michigan. You have to have some of those wins to help create the buy-in and belief in, hey, what we're doing does work, and just continue to trust the process and trust what we're doing. Let's double down on our beliefs because it's what's gotten us here, and it works.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys. Go Broncos.